Vecna, Vecna, Vecna. It's always Vecna. Marsha. What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OGGM. It's Saturday, the 15th of April, 2023. It's about 8:20 in the morning, and it is a lovely spring day at the moment here, so fingers crossed it stays this way at least for a day or two. And it is I, the OGGM, coming to you more or less live from a small island off the coast of Costa Rica in Ventura, California. Figured that one out. And it's time to take another look at the news from the Dungeons & Dragons doubleheader media disaster that was D&D Direct and the Content Creator Conference. So just to remind everybody, a few weeks ago, after the OGL nonsense and the release of the SRD and the not apology, Wizards of the Coast invited several random choices of creative content creators from the interweb to come out to stay at a Ramada Inn and listen to a couple speeches. If you've ever been to a timeshare thing or a corporate synergy meeting, which I had to go through back when I worked for Target, or a think tank or anything like that, basically they gather you in a hotel, they force you to watch some movies, a speaker comes out, so they did this for D&D, and then they also did the D&D Direct thing, and these things like fell within the same week. All right, so anything that you saw in the D&D Direct a couple of days later, the people at the convention are like, wait, I already saw this. And there's been a plethora of news and weather and sports and nonsense coming out of the doubleheader. Basically, both were handled poorly in the annals of how to present simple information to a public that is kind of not your friend right now. There are ways to do it and ways not to do it, and the oh my god, what you were thinking, never ever open this vault and do what it says in this vault. And Wizards of the Coast looked at the three possibilities of the way they could present the information, and they chose the vault twice. Literally, what is the stupidest, most self-destructive way we can take the information we want to give to people in a palatable, easy-to-digest format? And as usual, they went with the most stupid. So much so that ever since the doubleheader, they have had to release not one, not two, not three, but four separate, okay, this is what we meant to say, announcements. So here's the latest. That was all a lead up to this. Here's the latest regarding upcoming product. So, assume this will change. In 2024, we will have Big Beast Presents Glory of the Giants in 2023. In 2024, we will have Big Beast Presents Glory of the Giants 2023 by Brian Velez and Kent Davis. It's coming out sometime in the fall of 2023, so September, October. I'll have art from the Phandelver campaign, and will be additional art from other things. And this will basically do for Giants what Fizban's Guide to Dragons did. Most people think Fizban's Guide to Dragons was actually pretty decent. So, yay. Here's a whole bunch of information for the Giant race in 2023. By the way, we are completely rewriting the Monster Manual in 2024, thus making any information we present in this completely pointless. There's a new Phandelver book coming out. This is the one that we are slightly kind of excited about for those, because many people consider Lost Minds of Phandelver to probably be the best 5th edition product that Wizards of the Coast has ever made. Now, personally, I love Tomb of Annihilation, but I think I'm alone. But yeah, if you pound for pound, if you look at the reviews and what people have said, of all the 8 adventures that Wizards of the Coast has made since 2014 for 5e, Lost Minds is pretty much considered the best. It is the home run. It is the gold standard that all other D&D adventures are held up to by Wizards of the Coast. So the first half of this book will contain a complete reprint of Lost Minds of Phandelver, possibly re-edited to include any rules changes between now and 2014. Of course, this will change in 2024, making any of the information in this book pointless, but it will hopefully, I guess, contain updated versions of Lost Minds of Phandelver, which was in the first D&D Essentials book. But there are 2 more D&D Essential boxes after that. There's the Ice Spire and there's Stormwreck Island. Now, I believe Ice Spire was a continuation of the adventure in the first book, so that leaves the question, will this book include both Lost Minds and Ice Spire, or will it just sort of dust over the fact that Ice Spire existed? And how will it explain the necessary need to completely rewrite the first half of a book in an adventure that you can get for free pretty much anywhere? It's on Drive-Thru, it's on DM's Guild, it's on the Wizards of the Coast site, it's on other sites. You can get the PDF of Lost Minds for absolutely free, at least until the end of this year, and then, of course, it will cease to exist. But will it also contain the Ice Spire stuff? I don't think Stormwreck Island was a continuation of Ice Spire. I'm not sure. Somebody correct me on that if you're listening to this, but I don't believe it was. So yeah. And then the second half will explore what happened after Lost Minds and take it to higher levels. And this is supposed to be the jump start into 2024 D&D, I guess. So much the same way the Avatar trilogy jump-started us from one edition to another edition, maybe this is how they're going to jump-start us from 5 to 2024 D&D that still doesn't have a name, but we know that it's not 5e, we know that it's not 5.5, we know that it's not 6, and we know that it's no longer 1D&D. We just know that it's going to exist, but it doesn't have a name yet. I've been calling it D&D Evolved. So yeah, I guess that's the plan. I'm not sure, but it feels like the plan, considering that our boy Vecna is supposed to be the major bad guy of 2024. Vecna, yes. Then we have the Planescape book coming out at the end of 2023. It's going to be reimagined for today's audience, honoring the roots, then expanding. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I think we all know what that means. Basically, if we look at the last reprint that they did to make it up to date for today's audience, or the one before that they updated to today's audience, we can expect 2023 Planescape to be the same level of quality as Ravenloft 5e Part 3 and Spelljammer 5e that came out last year, at the end of last year. And yes, we know how well written those two were, and we know the swirling mass of Lovecraftian controversy that embraced both of those. So we can expect, sadly, for those of us who are still hoping that they would not mess up Planescape too much, to expect a complete whitewashing, sanitization, and a culturally appropriate, completely not offensive Planescape, which will then, of course, be lambasted by the public, much the same way that Spelljammer was lambasted because of space monkeys. So what do we think is going to upset everybody in Planescape 2023? But it really doesn't matter, because in 2024... it's different. Then we know we're having the Deck of Many Things book coming out. So this is a book that's going to just be a mishmash of stuff. Random new rules. This is kind of like Xanthers, just bits and bobs of things. No real, theme. Like Big Beast Presents. And in the process of this, they're going to completely redo the Deck of Many Things, add new cards to the Deck of Many Things, because I guess, make it a full 52, as opposed to just in the previous, it was the face cards. And they're going to have a deck of cards that comes with it. You're going to have to buy it separate, of course, but you can get the book, and then you get the brand new Deck of Many Things that's going to have more cards than the currently existing Deck of Many Things, and obviously be safer. Because let's face it, 80% of the things in the deck of many things right now are just awful. Your character is trapped for eternity in another plane. I mean, lose 37 levels. So this is coming out before Christmas. It'll have the deck of cards, the book. The book will contain a brand new deck of many things, and that deck of many things will contain a whole bunch of new cards, maybe 52 as opposed to the, 20-something now? Bad news for each and every person on Etsy or every other creative outlet that have released their own versions of the deck of many things since time immemorial. There are physical decks of many things that you've been able to buy from multiple producers, still can to this day. Deck of many thing tarot cards, deck of many thing playing cards, hundreds of different variations have been out there for sale. I even have one floating around the house somewhere. But yeah, you're screwed, because not only are they completely rewriting it, they're adding new cards, which means all of you who are on Etsy making these deck of many things are going to have to say, well, I'm fucked. I got to redo my product and hope it falls under the new SRD so I can actually do it, because, yeah. Thankfully, the competition has something similar, so if you don't want to have the authoritarian footsteps of Wizards of the Coast squash your physical deck of many things product line, you could just switch it over to the Haro deck from Pathfinder, or call it the deck of chaotic stuff, change a few things and release it under the ORC, or release it for Castles and Crusades. So you're not 100% screwed. You're only 80% screwed. Okay, moving on to Venger. Remember Venger? They were saying that Venger is going to somehow appear in the Dungeons and Dragons world. We're going to completely ignore what happened to Venger in the cartoon, because apparently now Venger exists in the Forgotten Realms. And he is now apparently going to be a Red Wizard of Thay, a redder Red Wizard of Thay. Because yes, of course, Zastam would allow Venger to achieve that much power in the ranks of the Red Wizards. And Venger, of course, would obviously be willing to work for Zastam, because we know how well Venger works with others, and we know that how Venger is, everything must be mine, but now Venger is going to be everything must be mine in the name of Zastam. In other words, we're screwing over Venger. So if you love Venger the way he is, and you appreciate the way the story of Venger ended in the cartoon, and since that ending was more or less written by the creator, I think that's the canon, and anything Wizards of the Coast is doing with Venger isn't. I don't know what's going on with the rights, because it's still divided by 3 people, but I guess Disney either went, fuck it, we're not doing anything with it, you can have it. Or the other guy was just like, look, I don't have the power to fight you guys. I'm one guy, I wrote a dream, this is my thing, this is how I think it happened. The people who, read and followed the unofficial ending, that's how I think it ended. If Wizards of the Coast wants to do something else with Venger, it's not my Venger, it's a different Venger. And that's probably what happened. Or they just said, here, take $100, don't say anything. And the guy's like, fine, whatever, yes. Maybe we'll get a decent Venger action figure out of this, because the Venger action figure they released last year looks like crap. So, yeah. Congratulations, Venger Satanis. If you're listening, buddy, you're now a Red Wizard of Thay. Because, yes, power-hungry, whatever, half-demon Venger would totally be willing to be second to Zastam. I am a real Thavian. And finally, remember those bad guys from the League of Malevolence, also some of which appeared in the D&D cartoon, like Warduke? They've got something coming out. League of Malevolence were the bad guys in Witchlight. Remember Witchlight? When they brought us Thaco the Clown? Well, they might be showing up again sometime in 2024. But Wizards of the Coast has said pretty much the 2024 AP from beginning of 2024 to end of 2024 that'll explain these. I don't know. The history would say they're going to use this to explain the transition from one to the other, much like they did with the Avatar trilogy, will somehow feature Vecna. In other words, hey, that seed we've been planting since day one with the black obelisks. And we told everybody in 2014 the black obelisk might have some connection to Vecna. Well, we're finally going to see that seed sprout in some form, but not the way you expect it, because we're going to screw over Vecna, because we're Wizards of the Coast. We screw over everything you love. It'll be a happy, fun Vecna. I go by the Joe Mangialia canon for Vecna, and that, who has the hand and what's going on. But yeah, it's always nice to see some love for our number one bad guy, Vecna. But, as far as I'm concerned, the Vecna Lives trilogy is the gold standard of the rise, fall, and return of Vecna. And it would have been nice to see the storyline of the Black Obelisk pay off in a much better way than you would do. So are you excited about this? Are you excited about them changing Giants and finally changing Giants only to have that all changed again because 2024? Are you excited about the fact that they're going to continue the Lost Mines of Phandelver? Now, please, if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong. The two other books, were they continuation? Because I remember them saying Icespire was a continuation of Phandelver, but I don't remember if Stormwick Island was the third part of that or not, or completely separate. So please let me know if I am right or wrong. This will be, I guess, a complete rewrite of Lost Mines of Phandelver before it disappears at the end of this year, or you could just get it for free because it's free online. And then in addition, to take you up to higher levels and explain, hopefully, finally, the Obelisk, the 2023 Planescape, it's going to be updated for today's audience. So, yeah, same thing we did with Spelljammer and Ravenloft. More cards are being added to the Deck of Many Things, and we're going to be releasing our own new official Deck of Many Things. So all of you who've been making Deck of Many Things and selling them independently on Etsy or at conventions, screw you! Venger is going to be a Red Wizard of Thay because, yes, I totally believe that Venger would be second and be willingly play second to Zastam. And let's just ignore the canon of the cartoons and Venger's fate. Are we going to somehow mention in 5th edition Venger the whole relationship with his deadbeat dad, Dungeon Master, and the fact that Dungeon Master basically kidnapped a group of kids to kill his son? Because that is the plot of the cartoon. And the League of Malevolence might be showing up in a product sometime in the future. Thank you, Chris Perkins, for once again taking the words of Jeremy Crawford and Dungeons & Dragons and chewing them up and regurgitating them into bite-sized bits of information that almost clarify questions. Now, I would love to say, okay, that's it. We're putting this to bed until the next product comes out, which will hopefully be better received than Keys to the Golden Vault. Whatever the next one is. I think it's the Big B one, maybe. I don't know. And you're done. You're going to take a break now, Wizards. You're just going to focus on making products so you will actually have something to print in 2024 because you haven't done a Kickstarter in a while and you haven't, a survey in a while or a playtest in a while. And let's face it, your brand right now is not very good. So it'd be a good time to take all this energy and focus it on doing a little damage control, maybe, and actually producing a product that's worthy of receiving positive. No, of course. I will bet my bottom dollar that we will have another nonsense story from Wizards of the Coast by tomorrow or Tuesday. So sometime between later today and Tuesday, there will at least be one more, if not 100 more, because Wizards of the Coast cannot leave well enough alone. There were 3 ways, Wizards of the Coast, you could have presented this information twice. You had not one, but 2 different chances to get ahead of the rolling ball of dung that you have made the public perception of you. The fire hydrant of controversy and negative responses and your basically screw you attitude for the fan base. You had 2 chances, one right after the other. You had 3 ways to address those 2 chances. And as usual, you took the absolute worst. But maybe I'm wrong. What do I know? Let's sing the Fabian's theme song. I am a real Fabian. Fight for the rights of Zastam. I am a... Okay, that's enough. You got to pay me if you want to hear the rest of it. I have been the OGGM, and you have been awesome. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If you don't appreciate this content, let me know. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the OGGM Adventures, please like, share, and subscribe. Help me hit 2,000 subs by the end of the year. And of course, if you're feeling generous, please remember this is my, for lack of a better term, job. And the best way you can support the OGGM is to, of course, buy my merch. Buy my merch. Buy my merch, please. And there's 2 ways you can do it. You can head on over to Big Geek Emporium and buy them there. I've got 10 products up on Big Geek Emporium, each selling for $2. Each featuring one monster and focused on all the variations and all the different things of each of those monsters, including my 5-star award-winning, often copied slime book. Or you can sign up for the Patreon mailing list. I tried to set up an online store, but it's not working. And let's face it, 10 pages is not worth setting up an online store. You know, when I have like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 page products, maybe I'll copy the online store format that people like Venger and Red Room and are doing. But yeah, for my crap, I have a Patreon. Behind the Patreon, there's a mailing list. You get on the mailing list, you're guaranteed at least a minimum of 2 products a month, perhaps more exclusive stuff. I will be having my first Patreon exclusive, hopefully in a couple days, if I get off my lazy and actually write it. I've got the idea in my head. So yeah, there you go. That's enough about me. How are you today? Have a great day. Stay warm, stay safe, stay dry. Enjoy the spring weather while we have it, and I will talk to you later. And once again, to all of you on Etsy who have been making Deck of Many Things, according to the current write-up of the Deck of Many Things, Wizards of the Coast would like to show you their appreciation by telling you to fuck off. We're going to release a brand new, completely different Deck of Many Things. Ha 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 ha.